There is a kind of love that feels uncomfortable in the moment, but transforms you forever. It doesn't meet you exactly where you are and stay there. It sees past your current state to who you actually are and calls you there. If you've had someone like this in your life, a mentor, parent, coach, trusted friend, you probably didn't love it when they did it. You resisted. It stung. But looking back, it may have been the most important thing anyone did for you. This is what Krishna does the moment he opens his mouth in chapter 2. His first words are not gentle reassurance. They are a callback to greatness, and they mark the beginning of one of the most important teachings in human history. Sanjaya observes, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, overwhelmed with grief, eyes full of tears, Krishna spoke. And Krishna says, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? This is not befitting a man who knows the value of life. Do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up this petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy." Chapter 2 opens with a single command. Arise, Uttishtata. Arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Krishna, BG 2:3. Krishna does something extraordinary in this moment. He acknowledges Arjuna's grief. He is not dismissing it, but he refuses to build his response around Arjuna's current emotional state. He orients around Arjuna's actual identity. Who Arjuna is underneath the grief. This does not become you. This is not who you are. This is one of the most loving things a person can do for another. Refuse to define them by their worst moment. Hold the larger truth of who they are, even when they can't access it. The greatest guides, the truest friends, this is what they do. They don't confirm the small story you're telling when you're in crisis. They hold the bigger story, patiently, lovingly, firmly. They hold the bigger story until you're ready to return to it. We see the 4 pillars of Krishna's approach here. First, he sees the grief. He doesn't dismiss it. Second, he refuses to confirm the small story Arjuna is telling. Third, he holds the larger truth of who Arjuna is. And fourth, he calls him back to his actual identity. This dynamic shows up in the most transformative relationships across all of human history. The teacher who challenges the student. The teacher who, after weeks of a student's struggle, finally says, "I have watched you make yourself smaller than you are. That stops now." The elder who, when you offer your excuses, simply says, "I know what you are capable of, act from that." The Guru-Shishya relationship in the ancient tradition was built entirely on this principle. The Guru holds the vision of the student's highest self, even when the student cannot see it. And the student, over time, grows into that vision. We need people like this in our lives. And we need to be people like this for others. Because holding someone's greatness when they've forgotten it is sacred. Uttishtata, arise, get up. It is one of the most repeated commands in sacred literature across all traditions. There is something about the physical act of rising that is itself spiritual. The body and soul are connected. When we physically collapse, we often spiritually collapse. When we rise, we signal, "I am not done." Krishna's command is not just motivational language. It is an invitation to a fundamental reorientation. From victim to agent. From overwhelmed to responsible, from grief to action, not by bypassing the feeling, but through it. You are allowed to feel broken and still choose to rise. In fact, that is the only real kind of rising there is. This week's reflection. Where in my life have I been collapsed? Longer than I need to be. What small story am I telling about myself that someone who truly loves me would challenge? And what does it mean for me today to arise? Not perfectly, not with all the answers, just arise. Next, Arjuna pushes back one final time, then surrenders completely. And in that moment of surrender, wisdom smiles. Don't miss it. Hari Om.